Now then YouTube, I'm going to be showing you in this video how I drill out the holes for my baths. Now with these acrylic baths, they generally don't come with the holes drilled out. I'm not entirely sure why, because they always put the overflow hole right here, and you wouldn't really want this anywhere else. Generally you would want the bath taps above the overflow, simply for aesthetics. There's no real reason why you would want them. There's no real reason why you can't have them somewhere else, like at the opposite end of the bath or on the sides of the bath, for example. But for aesthetics only, you would generally put it directly above the overflow.
Yo. Yeah.
Now, when you buy these baths, sometimes they can be manufactured quite badly. I've seen it where the overflow hole and the drain plug are not in line with each other. You might not be able to tell straight away, but as soon as you put your bath tap on central, you'll have everything to line up, and if they're not in line and the manufacturer hasn't put them in line, it's going to look really bad, and you're going to think that you've done something wrong when you haven't. So just have a look and slide down and just try to make sure that these are in line with each other, because as soon as you drill into this, you will not be able to send it back to the shop. Now I'm going to be showing you this method using an acrylic bath. For this I'm using a bimetal hole saw. These will generally cut through metal, plastic and wood. You can cut through things like MDF and like kitchen sinks. However, they do blunt very quickly if you cut through kitchen sinks. You know, the composite like granite and quartz ones, they blunt after the first use. But get yourself a nice little set. I think I got my Makita set. I'll show you. So I got this Makita set. It wasn't very expensive. You get everything all the way from 16mm all the way up to 76mm, and generally this has lasted me quite a long time. Now I did cut through a kitchen sink to drill out the holes for this, and it blunted straight away. I've ordered a new one. They're only about £8 or £9 off Amazon. That should be here fairly shortly, but for now, try to keep this set together. Now for the tools you're going to need a good tape measure. Again, try not to use a cheap one. You can get away with it as long as you know it's accurate, but some of the cheaper tape measures, like from B&Q, the magnesium ones, they might be a mil or two out, and you know, you want this to be right. You're going to need the tap that you want. Generally, the distance between these two are the same, but don't take my word for it, always measure. You're also going to need a drill, a good drill as well, and also your hole saw. If you get the hole saw kit that I've just mentioned, you can match up the hole that you need by going like that. It's plenty enough for the brass thread to go through. It's not going to get caught on anything, and you've also got plenty of space left over for the base of the tap. Now I've brought you in a little bit closer just so you can see what I'm doing. Move slightly there. First things first, you want to get your tape measure and measure from side to side. Now this bath should be 700mm. However, they are generally not. So this bath will be 697mm. Half of that is 348.5. So if we just measure here, and now we have our central mark. The next measurement you want is front to back. This is exactly 100mm, so it makes it quite easy for us, and that's going to be 50. So after we've got the central point, we want to work out the distance between the brass shanks of the tap. Easiest way to do this, measure from the center to the center, and we're looking at 175 mil. So half of 175, that will be 87.5. Again, you want this to be right. So I'm going to put the mark there, and then the same again on the other side. Now again, you want to make sure that these are centered and not on an angle, because we now know that this is 50 mil wide. You don't want the tap to end up sitting like that. You want it to be centered here and here. You may end up twisting it if you don't do this measurement. So again, we know it's 100 mil. We'll measure 50. And then again 50. The plastic wrap is still on this bath, so when I take this wrap off, all these markings will be gone. If you've already taken yours off, then I would suggest using some masking tape or frog tape or anything like that. So now the marks that we have here are exactly where we need them. Now, for me, in my experience, trying to silicone behind here is going to be very difficult. So, I'm going to bring them forward 10 mil. I'm also going to have a shower panel set on here, which is going to be roughly 10 mil. So instead of 50, it's now going to be 40. Okay, so if we just offer it into place like so, everything's still going to line up. I know that I'm still going to be able to get the nuts on underneath. Plenty far forward. Again, you don't want it too far forward that the square edge actually overhangs this. You still want to make sure that you've got plenty on here. If you've never done this before, I would strongly suggest just sticking with the central marks. I know what I'm doing, but if you, like I said, if you've never done this before, stick with your first marks that you've done. Then from here, you want to make sure you get the point of your drill directly over here. Make sure it's on securely. A little trick is when you're putting your hole saw on, with these drills, once you've tied it up, give it a good, as tight as you can, and then you hear that click. That click is actually locking it in place, and for me it has never ever come apart. So we go directly over the hole, and then begin. So that's your first hole. You'll generally end up with this stuck in here. However, if you've taken my advice, and you got some good hole saws, you will be able to get this out fairly easily. Unscrew this, it'll take it out from the center. Like so. So this Makita hole saw that I showed you earlier, the hole saw set, is the only hole saw set that I've ever managed to get along with. I've tried other ones, I've tried cheaper ones, and unfortunately they all just seem to blunt very easily, or because they're not in a nice little case like that, I end up losing parts of them. Do the click. Now we're done. Now you generally get a file and just file these edges off, but I'm just going to offer it into place for now. Like so. I'll take these nuts off. Should have some rubber O-rings or rubber washers as well with these. Make sure you don't lose them. You should really have a rubber washer under here as well. Sometimes if it's the circular one, it will look more like an O-ring rather than a like a square washer like this. Put these into place. As you can see, it's sat quite high up off of here. And that's generally because these washers that they give me are quite thick. These will compress down and they are designed to compress. I'm not going to tighten it down too much for you because I still need to file the edges of this, the hole that I've just drilled out. We'll just get this tightened down. Yeah?
Tea's ready.
Okay.
Do you want your cup of tea to be reheated?
No, it's fine. And there we go. So, still needs to be tightened down a little bit more, but that's only hand tight for now. And once it's all installed, it looks very good. We've got slightly more space back here. This gives me a little bit more room to do the siliconing. If I don't like it, I can actually move it back slightly because the holes that we've drilled are slightly oversized, but the square shroud on here does cover it up. So always make sure that your square shroud will cover it up. So that's it, a fairly easy, straightforward install. It is fairly nerve-wracking the first time you do it. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I did this myself, it was pretty scary. You don't want to end up sending a bath back. It's slightly embarrassing, but if you have to do it, then you're better off getting it right. And hopefully the information that I've given you in this video has helped you. If it has, in any way, shape or form, or if you're interested in more videos like this, please like and subscribe.